I just wrapped up week 7 of my 14-week training program, Building to Ironman Florida, on November the 5th, 2022. We are currently 47 days from race day, and generally, I'm doing great. I feel great. Being in this sort of aerobic condition is an incredible feeling. It's a lot of work to get here, but I feel great all the time. There's some fatigue from time to time, sure. These workouts are demanding, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. But I'm getting through it, and I'm confident that on race day, I will be fully prepared. I will be full of energy. I'll be feeling my best, and I will be ready to put forth my best effort in Panama City Beach on November the 5th. Now, the 7th week of my training was a challenging week for me. I saw a lot less training volume than in the 6th week, so for some respects it felt a little easy, but I was struggling with fatigue throughout the whole week. Week 6, I trained 22 and a half hours, and it took a lot out of me, and it definitely carried over into last week. Last week, I trained for a total of about 11 and a half hours. And I did my best to manage my fatigue to keep it from becoming a global, systemic, chronic issue. Trying to make smart decisions with my training while getting in the training that I needed to do, that I was able to do. I think I did a pretty good job with it because this morning I am feeling pretty good. Go back to last Monday, I was pretty beat. I had spent 10 hours on the bike on Saturday and Sunday of last week. I did a run after one of the bike rides. I did a swim in the afternoon on Sunday. So I woke up on Monday. I was beat. I definitely had a lot of fatigue. I still did a easy training session because moving the body helps, right? It helps with recovery. I got on the bike. I did half an hour, nice and easy. Only averaged 102 watts. Spin the legs, and that helped with my recovery. I had a strength and mobility session scheduled for Monday afternoon. I did not do much strength work. It was mostly mobility, mostly stretching. I didn't have it in me to really lift weights. And, I did not get in my 2 strength training sessions last week that I had been so consistent with throughout the whole year. I'm okay with that because it was mostly a decision to limit my energy consumption and, concerns over fatigue. It wasn't that I just didn't feel like doing them or anything. But I did do a lot of stretching and a lot of mobility work. Realistically, I'm not going to have a lot of opportunity for strength gains over these next few weeks leading up to the Ironman. So I'm okay with that. I do want to hit a couple decent strength training sessions this week, though, because I don't want to drop that habit. Tuesday, I did a swim in the morning, and then another run in the afternoon, out in the heat again. Wednesday morning, it was a shorter bike session on the indoor trainer that did feature a lot of intensity, a pyramid of max effort intervals. This is one of my my favorite and least favorite training sessions that I do. It's a pyramid of building max effort intervals. And there's the one stretch where you do a max effort interval for 50 seconds, you do an easy interval for 10 seconds, you do a max effort interval for 60 seconds, an easy interval for 10 seconds, and then a max effort interval for 50 seconds. So doing that is always a challenge. It's never going to be easy. I got through it. I did about 7 minutes total of max effort intervals throughout that ride, and then I had a 3.2 mile run off the bike. But it definitely takes a little bit out of you putting in that kind of effort. Thursday was a nice short swim, and then an easier bike ride that I didn't push myself too hard on. I only did 2 rounds in the main set, mostly due to fatigue concerns. I wanted to make sure that I spent Friday getting a full recovery, because I still didn't really feel fully recovered. So I took Friday off for the most part. It's my first, I'll say, rest day since the end of July, since I've started this training program. I skipped my strength mobility session, but I did go to the beach for an hour, and I walked barefoot on the sand in the sun. I got in the ocean for a bit. I did some leisurely swimming, not a training session at all, but I just got in the water, and the seawater is great for recovery recovery. It's full of minerals, makes me feel good. So Friday was good, and it seemed to work because I woke up on Saturday morning. I was fully recovered. I felt really good. I got up early because I had to hit another long bike ride. I rode 51 miles on Saturday morning, mostly easy, but I did do some intervals with some intensity. I was riding around up in a town in Broward County called Weston, Florida, and it's really kind of the best place to cycle around here. South Florida is not a cyclist paradise, but Weston is a little bit better. It's not just the same grid system with traffic lights every half to 3/4 of a mile like the rest of Broward County is, and there's lots of other athletes who are out training in Weston, so I get a lot of energy from that, seeing the other cyclists and the other runners out there. And at one point, I was doing a work interval, and I was riding for 5 minutes. I was at about 22.5 miles per hour, so I was pushing pretty hard. And there was another cyclist who was drafting right behind me the entire time, and we were just kind of pushing each other for that little duration there. And that was cool, doing stuff like that, getting to push yourself, being out there with other people. That was one of the highlights for me. The ride generally went pretty well, and came back, had a little run off the bike after that. Sunday morning, I woke up early again. I was not feeling as good on Sunday morning. I'm not exactly sure what it was. It probably had to do with the workout on Saturday for sure. I did not get a great night's sleep. There were some pretty intense thunderstorms on Saturday night here that kept me awake. I just remember laying in bed, seeing the lightning, hearing the thunder. So I got to the pool at 6 a.m. I don't know if it was the terrible indoor lighting from the pool, missing sunrise before my training session, but I just didn't have it, and I had a hard time meeting the intensity of my intervals during that swim, but I got through it, and then I came home, had a nice meal, relaxed for a bit, and I did a run. I only ran for an hour. It was an hour to an hour and a half. I didn't want to push myself too hard, but I wanted to get some work in. I decided to just run around my neighborhood here rather than going someplace to run. It's not really great running around my neighborhood. It's a big concrete block for the most part that borders really busy roads. There's not much shade. The heat can be sweltering out there. But I got a little fortunate because there was some cloud cover. It felt like it was cool that morning, and it is cooling down here a little bit, but it's still very hot. And I was out there running. It was 86 degrees. When you factor in the humidity, the heat index was 99, and that feels cool at this point because it is cool compared to what it was in July and August, but it's still very hot, and it still takes its toll on me. It's a big stressor, and running in these conditions throughout the whole summer has been one of the biggest challenges that I've had to undergo throughout this entire training process, because I am not running as fast as I would have if I was back in New Jersey, if I was running in cooler temperatures. The pace just isn't there, and I think that is mostly attributed to the fact that when I run, the heat index is always above 90. It's often above 100. I'm trying to keep my heart rate down, so that means slowing down and doing my best to keep my effort level, to manage the stress that this causes me. But it's a challenge to do this, and I'm hopeful for a nice cool day on November 5th in Panama City Beach, and that all this training in the heat for these last few months will pay off on that day. I got the run in on Sunday. I felt pretty good after. I relaxed for the rest of the day. I still did some recovery work, my foam rolling, and I got a great night's sleep last night. So I woke up. I'm feeling great today. It's Monday morning, the start of week 8 of my training. I'm going to hit a nice easy bike session today. Spin the legs again, nothing too crazy, but I'm hoping that come tomorrow, I'm 100% and I'm ready to attack another big week of training, because there's only a few more weeks really of training coming up. We are less than 7 weeks from race day, and when you factor in there's going to be 2 weeks of tapering before the race, I only have about 5 weeks really to really put in the work and get better. So I'm looking forward to that, but still managing overall my stress level, my fatigue, and that sort of thing, because I definitely want to make sure that on race day I am feeling my best. And I didn't leave my best efforts out here training for this race. I want to make sure I'm bringing my best efforts with me to Panama City Beach and leaving that out there on the race course that day.